Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. I'm Jim. I'm with my partner Steve, and we're happy to be back with you. Today is September 25th, 2021.
Correct. Welcome back, everybody. And really, today is a beautiful
I don't know, New Jersey doesn't get many days like this, but you know,
this is a keeper.
it's a keeper. Postcard.
Absolutely.
Right?
Beginning of apple picking season.
Well, yeah, exactly.
With the youngers, with the young
Exactly.
kids.
All of a sudden, pumpkin smashing, you know, right? Goosey night,
All
you know.
that hijinks.
Right. But thanks for joining us, and we're happy to be back with you. There's so much going on, and before we start, we start with the monologue, and I think I have it this week.
No, you do have it this week.
Great one last week on the Nebraska-Oklahoma game, by the way.
Thank you.
I must say. Got some good feedback from our audience who send us emails at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com, and that was a good one.
Hmm?
Game of the century, right?
Yes.
There's only one of them,
Well,
right? So anyway, listen, my monologue this week is something that I happen to catch, and it actually relates to two people who are at the top of their craft, and it was a Ken Burns documentary, and the topic was Muhammad Ali, right? You know Ken Burns documentaries, so if he's doing it, it's unbelievable, and it was 4 parts, and it just, from a chronological perspective, Muhammad Ali's career, and it was amazing. And you and I have talked about it, but when you and I have talked about this in the past, you know, who was one of the most influential sports figures ever and who was great at what he did, and it was Muhammad Ali. But I had never seen it at this it started out with the Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson, and it moved on. That was before Frazier won, right? And everything in between. He fought George Foreman, Ken Norton, and, but it was such a powerful documentary, and you saw what this guy was all about, starting when he won the gold medal in the Olympics. I just can't say enough how great a documentary it was, and the footage of behind the scenes, and what an articulate and just dynamic athlete that there has ever been. And it went from the whole Frazier, Norton, all those fights in between, to the end when it was the Leon Spinks, and it ended with the Trevor Berbick fight. But I got to say, if you like documentaries, Ken Burns did this thing on Muhammad Ali, and it's phenomenal. He was so dynamic and such a character and great at what he did. It's just something I recommend, and that's my monologue for the week.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, bringing that up, especially when you said Ken Burns.
Exactly.
So we all know anything Ken Burns is...
gold. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
No question.
Right.
So
But
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen it yet.
But the whole thing, Steve, it even went into when Don King came on the scene and how...
Only in America.
Right, but they went to Zaire to fight the Rumble in the Jungle, and nobody thought that Ali could pull this off. Foreman just looked, just unbeatable.
Right.
And it was just amazing. But the footage and the behind the scenes, even the whole cool thing about Muhammad Ali when he had set up that camp up in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he had, kids coming from the city and hanging out for the weekend. He was so dynamic, but he was a great guy, and I couldn't recommend it anymore.
Yeah.
Anymore.
And just real quick, so my recollection of Muhammad Ali is I kind of start with it at the Leon Spinks.
Oh, that was
fight.
that was the down started.
Yeah, but for me, because that was 1978.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
So in 1978, I'm 13 years old, and I know, so my brain has formed where I can appreciate watching Muhammad Ali. Now, I'm expecting Muhammad Ali to beat Leon Spinks.
Easy, and move on.
Because he's Muhammad Ali.
Exactly.
So my point is, yes, did I know of Muhammad Ali? The Fraziers and the Foremans and so on and so on, right? So I kind of, for me, I go backwards in time with Muhammad Ali to the point where you just made of then learning about the gold medal, about where he grew up in Louisville,
beating
about
Sonny
the racism.
Liston and Floyd Patterson,
Right, and then his conversion, from Cassius Clay, and Malcolm X to.
But the documentary covers all of
I
that.
know.
How,
I would expect it would.
That Islam needed
Right.
Muhammad Ali, and he was great.
But my point is, yes, iconic, one of the most influential athletes of our time, considered probably the best boxer in history by many. Mike Tyson, all that nonsense aside, most dynamic and a great guy and a charitable guy. And to your point when you said about the camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, or whatever it was,
That's where it was.
his love of children and his humor.
His workout was literally chopping down trees.
Right,
It was
and then
ridiculous.
unfortunately, the Parkinson's hit, and God, it had to be 20 years or so.
But the documentary shows the transition from that last Berbick fight into Parkinson's,
Totally.
and it was just heartbreaking.
and Larry Holmes just absolutely teeing off on him, his former training partner, this, that, and the other thing.
And I got to tell you, Larry Holmes, he was so grateful.
Larry
that
Holmes
he
is a good guy.
crossed paths with Muhammad Ali.
Larry Holmes is a good
And they were interviewing him, and these guys are still alive. Don King is still alive.
Yeah.
Hit him with 5 shots, and he's still alive.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of that, and let's move on. Our first segment sponsored by Coriano Trucking from Summerhill, New York. And thank you again, week and week and week after that.
Thank you, Guy.
Thank you for your sponsorship.
Hopefully we
Guy.
get to see Guy next week if he's coming down for.
Yeah, big St. Joe's reunion weekend.
Let's hope so.
Been quite a few years for me. Anyway, Ryder Cup, Steve. I got. Let's jump right into it. Actually, Mike Garvey from Naples was saying you should do some play-by-play on the air while the Ryder Cup's going on because there's great matches going on.
Oh, sure.
And yesterday was amazing. I got to say, this Whistling Straits looks gorgeous, right? I mean, nothing will ever beat Pebble Beach, but this is pretty close.
This is pretty close.
It is.
The Ryder Cup.
USA had a good day yesterday.
Just a real practice run here. So DeChambeau is on the 8th hole. It's breaking, Royce. He just missed the DeChambeau. Oh.
I'm assuming that's your Peter Alice, right? Right. DeChambeau hit a 391-yard drive yesterday.
I know.
Just off the green into the bunker, but 391.
It's pretty good.
This guy, courses aren't going to be big enough for this guy.
But it was good the USA got off to a good, opening round. So
Stricker had a pretty good interview. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
He handled himself well. He goes, we got a plan. This is what we're doing. And, today, right now, Justin Thomas is playing with his buddy Jordan Spieth.
Right.
And,
no, this is good. This is good must-see TV.
It is.
It's on as we speak, and we'll be tuning in, back and forth all day.
Yep. A lot of rookies on both teams and stuff, which is big, in the U.S. Because there's guys that got shunned because they went with, a Daniel Berger or something like that.
And again, the run by the Europeans winning this is similar to when we grew up watching Major League Baseball in the All-Star Game. We're Yankee fans, diehard, so we were always American League fans.
Always.
So that All-Star Game in the 70s and stuff,
Right.
we got murdered every freaking year. National League beat us, I want to say, like 13 years in a row or something.
And then
Remember
they had
that?
the 50th All-Star game at Yankee Stadium in 1976, I think, something like that.
77 it was, that
Right.
game. And Goose Gossage was pitching for the Pirates.
That's when the All-Star game was worth, must-see TV.
We worship the All-Star game.
Yep. But the Ryder Cup it's on, and listen, I know there's going to be football and college football on TV today, but that's what remote controls are for.
But this is a good thing too with COVID and everything. This is a good international event, like Go USA type of thing.
And
so,
both sides want to win this thing
Let's
bad.
win this, man. Let's win this. And,
Big time.
yeah, I'm enjoying it.
And listen, Stricker and Harrington will be based on who they picked and, who wins this, and you go down in lore. But
I can only hope that Patrick picks his buddy Lee Westwood to, be in a crucial situation to make a putt, so he guarantees that he misses the putt.
Exactly. But when you think of the last 5 captains of the Ryder Cup, it was, Furyk and Love and Tom Watson and Corey Pavin was even, So you got to, listen. This is a lot of pressure on Steve Stricker and Patrick Harrington, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And actually, Mike Garvey, put it up. He goes, if these guys don't get paid, why are there so many commercials? And I said, somehow these guys are getting paid. Believe me.
Right.
But there's no prize money. It's just for the trophy and the champagne.
Yeah.
But it's well underway. And listen,
Everything's on the house at Whistling Straits. Your money's no good here, Brooks.
That's right. Don't bring your wallet to the 19th hole.
Totally.
Right?
Are you kidding?
But anyway, enjoy that. That's on today and tomorrow, and it's great.
Nah.
Watch it. We recommend it.
And if I was at the Golf Pro shop, I'd be like, give me 4 sweaters, 3 hoodies.
Like Arthur, he goes, give me 18 sweaters, all green. Anyway, enjoy that. But hey, college football. Let's jump right into that because
We got less than an hour before Soldier Field. The Irish and the Badgers take the field.
yeah. Who do you think? Who do you like today?
I've been torn on this. I really am.
Good storyline though.
Yeah, it was
right?
great with Jack Cohn.
Jack
Jack Cohn's a Long Island kid, so our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And, kind of like a Russell Wilson played at Wisconsin, gets his graduate transfer year.
Yep.
And the fact that he's going back playing against his boys, I think is probably the number one storyline here.
Yep.
Wisconsin lost to Penn State, so they already have a loss. Notre Dame is 3-0, haven't looked, dominant. They've pretty much escaped all 3 games.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, but I'll have to go with my homer type of thing. I'm going to go with the Irish.
Okay, but let's even if we look back at last week, you had the Alabama-Florida game. There was this is great football, and I was surprised that Penn State beat Auburn. That was a big game.
Yeah,
right?
I think we both took Auburn.
Yeah.
I know we discussed it.
Yeah.
So Penn State is off to a very good start. But back to Alabama real quick. Alabama was up 21-3. And you got to give Florida absolute credit.
It's not easy playing in the swamp, I can tell you that.
But I'll tell you this about Bryce Young. I'm loving what I'm seeing from this kid, man.
If Nick Saban loves him, we love him too.
We do. And I'm
how it works.
falling in love with this kid.
Yeah.
He's poised and...
They got a cupcake today, but there's some good games this weekend, right?
Yeah.
How about Wake Forest, Virginia last night? That was a game... I kind of like Wake Forest, but with Virginia at home, that's tough to bet against, and Wake Forest took it to them.
Yeah,
It was a good game.
I got that wrong.
Nah, well, it's not
No,
right or wrong. I'm just
No,
saying.
Wake Forest 3-0, Virginia 2-1. Bronco Mendenhall's the coach of Virginia. They're home.
Yeah,
But Wake Forest, yeah, took
good
it
name,
to 'em.
Bronco Mendenhall.
It's gonna be the best. It's the best since Bronco Nagurski.
Exactly, that was taken, right?
Of course. What's up, Bronco?
Right. Hey, what's up with Clemson? No, they're not playing so well. It's not the Dabo Sweeney. This has got to be killing them, right?
I think it's Clemson's offensive line. I think it is. Listen, it's
Well, let's pass it along.
It really is.
He's
That's their
he's
problem.
filling the shoes of a legacy. This quarterback.
Yeah,
I think.
but without the offensive line plowing the way, Clemson has been struggling to score points.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the
And,
NFL.
yeah,
that offensive line.
The run may be over.
And what game I saw, because I know your chips are all in on Kelly at UCLA. They lost last week.
They were
right?
all in on Kelly. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up because I was just about to.
Yep.
So UCLA loses to Fresno State last week, 40-38. Of quarterback of Fresno State's a kid named Jake Haener.
Yeah, they won last night, actually, by the way.
Who transferred out of Washington.
Beat UNLV last night.
Yeah, 38-30.
Right.
And this kid, Jake Haener, so listen for his name going forward. He's going to be he's one of the top quarterbacks. Fresno State's making noise, 4-0.
Yeah.
But the point is,
They won't be there at
UCLA
the end.
loses to Fresno State. And I'm very disappointed because I thought they would have this momentum going. Now UCLA has to go play Stanford tonight in Palo Alto. I'm liking Stanford here.
And that means the USC game's coming up, and we know what's been going on with that program, right?
Yeah.
And now they got the second-string quarterback. Slovis has got to come back, right? Jackson Dart is out, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Good college football, though.
And still no word on, a leading candidate for that. That won't be filled till
After the season.
After the season.
Absolutely.
Although Dion, may be under consideration.
Did that actually come up? Is that under discussion? Is this breaking news? 'Cause I don't know this.
Let's just say there's a spark going that Dion,
Now
not only USC, but going back to his alma mater, Florida State, to turn around this.
Could he be the next head coach of the Dallas
He
Cowboys
could be
in
the
5 years?
I think he could be the next head coach of the Florida State Seminoles if he wants to.
Exactly.
I'm serious.
You just-
Prime time.
That was a Frazier to Ali left hook right there. My knees buckled.
Yes.
But hey, Rutgers is playing Michigan today.
At the big house.
At the big house. Yeah.
I can't.
And then they got Ohio State at home.
I know. So I can't, I can't say I can take Rutgers today, right? So let's see how they do against Ali and Frazier back to back.
Right.
Michigan, Ohio State.
Understand the
And then I
reference.
think, we'll have a real good gauge as to where Rutgers is. They're competitive.
They played well this
listen,
season.
if by a Powerball lottery chance they beat either one, then the program is really taking off.
And then you think, if they can't beat one of the two, Ohio State and Michigan, then it's the same old story, and you just can't.
But I don't think so.
Yeah,
but I don't think so. They're not going to be the doormat. They're not the doormats anymore. So they're not going to be the 1-10 type of thing in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but
They are making strides where they're probably right in the middle of the pack right now,
and they got a good
which
coaching
is good.
staff.
Yeah,
and-
which is fine.
Exactly.
They're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Michigan's favored by 20.5 today. I think it might be a little too much on a point spread, but
Going with the Scarlet Knights with the points.
I would say yeah.
And this segment is not sponsored by DraftKings,
right.
by the way.
No, but I can see Rutgers losing by say 17.
Well, they got
Right.
a lot of good talent, but you never know.
Then you have the Harbaugh factor, so 17.
So he could put his foot on your throat and score 70 if
If things break the way,
Exactly.
yeah.
And believe me, he wouldn't take the foot off the gas
No,
pedal.
we're talking, and I'm glad you brought that up because you and I talked about this yesterday about this Presbyterian college. A lot of people should look this up. The coach is Kevin Kelly.
It's always a 70-point game or something.
Right, but Kevin Kelly was an Arkansas high school coach, won 9 state championships out of 18 tries. He's famous for not punting. This is the guy.
I know.
He doesn't have a punter on his
I know
roster.
his coaching book,
Right.
Playbook.
But he won 9 state championships with
Right.
his philosophy.
Right.
So he's at Presbyterian College, which I think is in South Carolina or something. Anyway,
North to south,
the quarterback is a transfer from Michigan, and he threw 10 touchdown passes in the first game. They win ridiculous 70 to something. They win their second game.
Right.
However, they played a tough team and lost 72 to nothing last week.
Exactly.
Right. So my point is, I think it's fascinating. This guy Kevin Kelly talks to Bill Belichick twice a week. Put it that way. Check it out. It's a fun thing. It's
Yep. But 2 other games before we wrap up college football. The Hogs from Arkansas. I actually watched them play, and I got to shout out to one of our loyal Razorback fans, Walt Hahn,
right.
down in Arkansas. They look very good. They're playing Texas A&M. So you got Jimbo Fisher, and they look good. Pig Suey.
Yeah.
Razorback.
Yeah, but they haven't been relevant.
That's their song.
I got to think the last relevant team had Darren McFadden and Felix.
I knew where you were going.
I'm just saying, because I can't, top of my head, I know Brett Bielema was the head coach.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. Now he's at Illinois.
He is.
But, I'm glad. Arkansas should be relevant.
And one other game was Nebraska-Michigan State.
Yeah,
right?
I'm all in on Michigan State now.
I know.
I am.
We're seeing the decline of Nebraska football against these powerhouses,
the
right?
decline is here.
It is.
So I just handicapped that.
Last year for Frost, right?
I don't know. We'll
Gotta
see.
be.
I mean,
Gotta be.
he's a Nebraska, legend.
Yeah, I know.
But I want to touch on Michigan State real quick.
Yep.
So Mel Tucker is the head coach now. Came
I
from
like him,
Colorado.
actually.
Right, they're 3-0.
Yep.
We talked about Kenneth Walker III last week. He's leading the nation in rushing, 164 a game. They have a quarterback named Peyton Thorne.
Yeah.
Threw 4 touchdown passes in back-to-back weeks. He's the only. He joined Connor Cook as the only 2 Michigan State quarterbacks to do that. My point is, Michigan State has been playing well. Yeah. They're home. Nebraska's coming in. Nebraska hasn't beaten a ranked opponent
on the road. Right.
Since 2012.
Yeah.
I'm all in on Michigan State.
All right. No, but they had a big win last week, man.
Oh, yeah.
Good team. Actually, there's a St. Joe's guy. He's going to be the next stud on the Michigan State, and that's a very, prestigious place to play.
Sure
right?
is.
Offensive line guys at the Spartans.
Yeah.
Very good. Anyway, so high school football, before we move off into the NFL, Bergen Catholic beat Don Bosco last night. Shut him out on the road. And this is high school football folks. So what a good team. These guys are number 1 in New Jersey and our St. Joe's Green Knights. We lost a lot of guys
last year. It's a transition year for St. Joe's.
We like to call it that when we don't
win.
Well,
it is. It is.
But the quarterback for
Bergen.
Bergen.
No excuses. It is. We can't hang with Bergen this year.
Steve Angeli, he's going to Notre Dame after he wraps up this season. But high school football is awesome, right?
Yeah, Bergen Catholic is the clear-cut number 1 team.
Team to beat.
They're not going to lose.
Anyway, so let's move on to the big boys, the National Football League. And this segment sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut, who, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go on the fishing trip, but apparently they caught some fish.
They caught some marlin.
They did. But thanks to Lynch Toyota for their continued support of the show. National Football League, Steve. You can start it off for us. What's the hottest thing going on in the NFL? Sam Darnold being 3-0 for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Surprise. That's a surprise.
Listen, it is. My observation of Sam Darnold is, looks pretty good. No?
Yeah, it looks pretty good now.
My point is, he looks like he's in shape. Number 2, he has Christian McCaffrey as a weapon. Granted, McCaffrey's down. I get it. He's down with a hamstring now, and he'll be out for foreseeable future.
Right.
But the point is, he's got assets to work with DJ Moore.
He's good.
I'm not saying he is,
He's playing better than he's killing the Jets, right? That's all I can say.
Right. So they're 3-0, but also, let's face it, Carolina's played a kind of a weak schedule up to this point. I think the other storyline is the Cowboys are back. I think Dak.
The Cowboys are back. Explain that to me.
I think defensively, there's a marked improvement already.
I think Parsons is being the player we thought he was going to be.
I think the offense is everything everybody knows about. I think they escaped with their lives against the LA Chargers because they had 2 touchdowns called back, and Herbert throws that picks, in the end zone. But that's the stuff that needs to happen.
Well, they're going to win the division. There's no question about that.
Look at the division. It's all contingent upon Dak, number 4.
Yep.
But my point is...
Who I like, by the way.
Yes, but my point is, yes. So I don't want to hear any more debates. Is Dak a top 10 quarterback? Please. Those debates are over.
Not even having it.
The Giants are a mess.
A mess?
Yeah.
A mess.
A mess.
They are a mess, but I still sticking by Jones because I like his talent. And how about the Zach Wilson game last week? Right? You know, you and I are all in on this guy, and we're all in on Saleh. But it didn't look good against Mac
0
Jones.
for 2 with 2 picks to start the game is not the way you want to start the game.
You got to admit, it's kind of cool watching this kid, Mac Jones, because you and I know all about him. We've watched him mature, and he's got the opportunity.
Tony. Hi, Tony.
And
Mac Jones.
And I'm going to see Mac Jones on the 24th of October against of all people, who? Zach Wilson.
Right, So back to Mac Jones real quick. I had a debate with a guy at work. They're like, well, Mac Jones is just, dumping and dinking and throwing like short passes. I said, okay.
That's how Tom Brady started.
I said, okay, your point is, so you mean he gets a rhythm going and he gets acclimated, and what are we in week 2, going on week 3?
And then he airs
and his
it out?
completion percentage is what, 70, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
I don't care that his downfield yards per, is something ridiculous.
I got you.
I said, I will take this grooming of a quarterback every day of the week. They'll open it up when he's ready to open it up.
Exactly.
There is nothing wrong with this approach.
He is going to be the quarterback of this franchise as long as he's healthy for the next 12 years.
Exactly. So the point is, the Jets need to dial it down a little bit. And Zach needs to take a step back and say,
there's just not a lot of talent on either side of the ball.
I understand, but you don't have to run deep routes every single freaking time. And it just seems like he's trying to force those balls downfield. Stay within.
Because that's what kind of a quarterback
Move the
he
chain.
is.
Move the chain.
Chase me down and I'll throw it
Get
on
a
the
first
run.
down.
You'll learn. It's
early. Listen,
it's
it's
early.
only week 2. He's going into week 3. I get it.
And that's all we can say about the NFL. It's early, right?
Right.
But before we move off the NFL, how about Eli Manning is getting his number retired this weekend?
Yeah.
So somebody asked me how many numbers of the Giants have been retired and so forth. But there's two different things. There's a Ring of Honor and there's the number being retired, right? And I looked it up and I said, number 10 is going to be retired, right? Number 92 is being retired. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Ugh.
But, the Ring of Honor, there's people in the Giants Ring of Honor that are there that maybe shouldn't be, and there's other people that should be that aren't. And I bring one guy up. If Justin Tuck is in the Giants Ring of Honor, then Leonard Marshall should be in the Giants Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great player for the Giants. For the franchise.
Well,
and that's what it's all about.
Here's another one. Carl Banks. Carl Banks, number 58, absolutely
He was awesome.
Deserves the Ring of Honor.
Absolutely.
And Carl Banks was great. And Carl Banks, to me, is actually a bona fide borderline Hall of Fame player.
I agree with that.
Good.
I agree.
But Carl Banks, number 58, doesn't deserve to be retired by the New York Giants, okay?
We talked about
Right,
that.
so I just wanted to throw that example.
But Jesse Armstead is in the Giants Ring of Honor. And I'm going, listen, there was a guy named Jesse Armstead that used to play when I watched the games every week or went to 8 games a year. But we talked about this before, about retired numbers. But listen, it's his day.
That's fine.
And he won 2 Super Bowls for the Giants. 2 thumbs up.
I can't win that argument.
Exactly. We're not talking about Hall of Fame. We're just talking about Giants lore.
And also, he's a good egg.
Absolutely.
And I have no issue with that, then.
I agree.
But finishing the NFL, we have to bring up the Oakland Raiders. Or the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah,
Listen, they're 2-0, right? Derek Carr is thrown for 800-something yards in 2 games.
Know.
Am I buying stock yet? I can't say.
Are you going to get a Mark Davis haircut because you're so into the Raiders?
So ridiculous. Mark Davis. He's like a cartoon character.
It's funny as hell, actually.
It's like Alfred E. Newman type of thing from Mad Magazine.
All right, but we've seen Derek Carr have 2 or 3 great games in a row.
You're worth billions and billions of dollars, and that's your haircut you're going with?
I saw an interview with him yesterday, and they asked him about what would your father think about the Raiders ending up in Las Vegas. He said, my father would have loved it. Of course he would have. This is Al Davis. He was ultimately, that was his plan. I mean, he was a genius.
I got to say, I'll say this. I was one of the biggest proponents of them never leaving Oakland. Right? The Oakland Raiders.
Right.
The College. Right?
Yeah.
But this is the greatest move they could possibly have done.
I remember
and
when
I think every single team that goes to Vegas now is going to be envious. Outside the Cowboys, right, who have the star and everything.
Absolutely.
Right? That type of thing. But to be the Las Vegas Raiders for eternity going forward.
But 10 years ago, when the topic
you couldn't have asked for anything better.
When the topic came up about an NFL team moving to Las Vegas, somebody said that'll never happen. I said it most certainly will happen, and it will be the Raiders, and that's exactly how it is. And you're right, it's the whole Vegas.
But here we are, and listen, I read this week. I think it was 2009. Goodell is in front of Congress or something,
really?
Talking about gambling and
how much money he makes a year.
No, about legalized. I mean, when the initial conversation of legalized gambling to other states
which
was
I
brought up,
the concept.
And the NFL was so adamant that we can't. Congress.
And now they're partnering up with these.
That's my point. It's like here we are, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Washington Capitals are the first team in the NHL now to have patches on their uniforms. And guess what it is? Caesars Entertainment.
Right.
So it's the first logo of a sports gambling establishment.
Everything will follow.
Right.
Everything will follow.
But real quick, back to that Goodell thing. He's a complete hypocrite now. I mean, a complete hypocrite.
But he's a businessman.
I understand.
And that's why he's doing it.
I understand that. I get that. Okay, but Roger Goodell, right, he has to play that part. So that was 2009.
Yep.
And now he has to embrace the fact that it's here.
Yep.
And now you embrace it and you make as much money for the NFL as you possibly can.
And I get it, but from a sports perspective,
and back to your point,
I loathe it.
Yeah, but back to your point 3 weeks ago about the Cardinals having, you could walk up at halftime or at any time during the game and throw, your trifecta down on, mow the lawn in the fifth race in Nebraska, Omaha Downs.
Right. Anyway,
and by the way, mow the lawn is my partner's creation.
Thank you very much.
He said that. I think it was like during the Kentucky Derby or something. But we were talking about people that gamble, on horse racing throughout the country, right? So he just generally speaking goes, yeah, I like mow the lawn in South Dakota in the 5th.
Right. You gotta parlay that.
Totally.
Anyway. Listen, what we do
at Rushmore Downs.
Exactly. John Deere Downs.
Oh,
right?
God, I felt a 1D on that one.
So we give our 2 picks. I'm not talking point spreads here. It's win or lose. And here's my 2 NFL picks for the week: Cleveland and Chicago. I'm going with the Browns. Guess why? Because Odell's back today. Yeah. So
congratulations.
He's been cleared to play.
Cool.
And my other game is Kansas City is playing the L.A. Chargers.
Really?
And I'm going with Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
There's my 2 picks. Give us yours.
Eli Manning Day. The New York Giants are 0-2.
Oh, garbage bowl, right? Falcons, Giants, snoozer.
If I'm going to bet on the Giants,
it's tomorrow.
Right, so I'm taking the Giants. And the Cowboys come home Monday night.
Yep.
First of 3 in a row at home for the boys. Mm-hmm. I'm taking the Cowboys over the Eagles.
All right. Let's see how that goes. So, NFL, Major League Baseball, Steve. How about the playoffs? Playoff run, I'm saying.
There's
down
no
to what?
playoffs.
8 games? 7 games left?
Did we not talk last night prior to the Yankee-Red Sox game?
We did.
Did I not make the mention that Garrett Cole better win this goddamn game tonight?
Yes, you
because,
did.
And did he?
He did. Pitched just like we expected him to pitch, and for the
Which
money
I could
he's
be
getting
happy
paid.
for. I'm a Garrett fan.
I know.
But I'm like, this is the games you gotta win.
But how is he doing it without your spider tack? I don't, you know.
I'm serious.
Maybe they're just good pitchers. How about the run for the St. Louis Cardinals?
You can keep mocking me about my spider tack. Go right
But
ahead.
These guys are mowing them down without it.
Yeah, huh?
How about those Cardinals, though? 13-game winning streak.
Oh, God, yeah.
They are always there. But, you know, the reason they're there, this guy, Arenado at third base, he is so awesome.
Right.
I mean, this is exactly what you hope to see in a Major League Baseball.
The St. Louis Cardinals are such a class. Thank God there's the St. Louis Cardinals in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Because they're so consistent, this, that, and the other thing, right?
They are.
So like, it's like quietly under the radar, like over the last couple of years, that they make that move to get Nolan Arenado.
Yeah.
So what was the debate on Arenado? Is this all Coors Field stuff, all his numbers?
Absolutely
Hell no.
not. With
Hell no.
It's as good as it gets at third
They
base.
get Paul Goldschmidt from Arizona.
Who's been hitting on, you know, he's probably closing in on 400 home runs.
Right.
Yeah.
But this guy, Goldschmidt, was batting like 360 something, you know, like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
340, you know. Blah, blah, blah. So these are two anchor type of guys that you get. You got Adam Wainwright.
40 years old.
Yeah, who last
40.
I checked, he was like 18-6 with like a 2.4
Mowing them down.
earned run average.
Right.
Little things like that. So I'm not surprised that they've won 13 in a row, and it's good for baseball.
And it's down to the wire in the American League East. The Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays. You know, who's sneaking up? Brewers are in there. You know, Seattle's coming in
Brewers
there.
have had a good year all year round.
But Seattle is actually in the mix with the Yankees in the last week of the season.
They are. Seattle's up there. Do you know Seattle is I think of the 4 major sports?
The longest playoff drought, I would think.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't think
Because it felt like yesterday.
it wouldn't have been my first guess, but I'll say that.
Because we didn't realize that this Griffey Yankees playoffs things back then was so long ago.
95.
Exactly.
94, yeah.
Yep.
So it makes sense.
It is good. And, you know, down in the MVP in the American League, it's got to be Ohtani, right? And now they're talking about Bryce Harper, possible MVP.
Possible.
No. I've been watching him. He puts up numbers and streaks.
Possible. Meaning he'll finish 3rd or 4th. Does that justify $300 million? You know.
So it's Ohtani and Guerrero in the American League, right?
It's already a done deal.
It has to be. But it's down the stretch. Let's see what the Yankees got, you know.
I'm actually leaning towards the Yankees doing enough to get in.
And
because they just played so bad again.
Right, but getting in is meaning you got to play one game.
All they got to do is
in or out.
Well, listen. If they don't get in, whether they lose game in or out game,
somebody's head is going to roll.
It could be somebody's head is rolling.
It could be Boone. It could be Cashman.
It's going to be Boone.
You know,
it's going to be Boone.
I know.
And people are like, Brian Cashman's going to get fought. I'm like, Brian Cashman. The only way Brian Cashman is leaving the New York Yankees is when he types his memo and says,
I'm leaving the New York Yankees.
I'm giving you 2 weeks' notice.
Right.
Thank you for my 30-plus years of service here.
Yep.
And my multiple 5 rings or whatever he's got.
But it couldn't be more exciting. It's awesome. And I'm glad. Listen, the Blue Jays are in there, and I like seeing this kid, Vlad Guerrero. I like to see him hit.
Oh, God. There's an iconic photo of
his father?
Vlad Sr. and Jr. And Jr. was... God, he must have been
8?
3 now, like 3.
Yeah.
is this like, this roly-poly, baby fat, 3 with a head of hair.
Putting up
right?
Lou Gehrig numbers.
Great picture. Like, just a great smile on the kid. It's awesome.
Yep.
So he's hit more homers in one season than Vlad Sr.
Yep.
And Vlad Sr. was awesome, man.
But listen, last week, so much going on with the Ryder Cup and the NFL and Major League Baseball playoff run.
I don't know how we keep up with all this. It's so rapid fire.
We should have a show.
We should talk about this.
We should talk about this and encourage our fans to send us
see what they
feedback.
think. Sports with mono at gmail.com.
I think we could go with that.
Maybe they have some witty comments.
For example, if we
different perspectives,
and we move on to something like random points of interest. How
sure.
about Mookie Betts, and the guy hits his first major league hit, a home run. Fan gets it. Mookie Betts, not even for the same team, gets the ball back, signs a bat, gives it to the guy in exchange. Quality move. Gotta love this guy, Mookie Betts.
It is so funny you just brought up Mookie Betts because I need to say something. So I work with a guy, Dave, in my daytime job. And Dave went to a bowling, charity event. Roy Jones Jr. is there, the boxer. So Dave's brother-in-law is like a bowler, is at 17,300 game. But
Ooh.
Roy Jones Jr. is like a major bowler. Right?
Okay.
Roy Jones Jr. and Mookie Betts are best friends. Roy Jones Jr. is telling Dave and his brother-in-law stories about Mookie Betts. He's the cheapest guy on the planet.
And he makes tons of dough. Right?
He's getting married. He didn't want to get married on a Saturday or Sunday, so he's getting married on a Tuesday or Wednesday to save.
Because it's cheaper.
He went on and on.
That's funny.
And on.
He's a great ball player, but that was a great move.
He needed he needed sneakers for something. Instead of going to buy them, he called his buddy to see if he had an extra pair in his closet. My point is, I thought it was funny.
Oh, there's a laundry list of guys that make billions.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Right?
And I know that firsthand.
That's your story.
That's my story.
You got an inside source. He's the cheapest out there.
Lives in a $2 million house and barking about pepperoni on the pizza. I didn't pay for that.
I didn't order these two. I didn't order this meat lovers.
That's not my cannoli. Anyway, how about Salvador Perez from the Kansas City?
Yes.
Johnny Bench's single
absolutely.
season home run record for catchers.
Wow. Right? It was what? The record was 45?
46. Well, he hit his 46.
Right,
so
the record was 45.
Yep.
And stood for... Christ, Johnny Bench had to do that in the 70s, obviously.
71,
early
maybe?
70s. Yeah,
71. But that's
when he had hair, Johnny Bench.
When I first saw that happened, I said, didn't Irod hit 45 home runs in a single season?
No, my first guess would have been Mike Piazza right off the get go.
Not Rodriguez from
my
Texas?
first guess would have been
Pudge.
I was actually driving to work,
Huh.
and I'm listening to the sports update. Salvador Perez just broke the Major League catcher record. Right, and I don't know the answer, so I literally had about, 2.5 seconds to come up.
Piazza?
My first thought was, it's got to be Piazza.
Mine was Pudge when I first heard it, too.
And it said Johnny Bench at 45. And I'm like, I wasn't surprised it was Johnny Bench.
Yep.
But I thought Mike Piazza, 47 maybe, something like that.
No.
I'm just saying.
I don't know that he ever hit 40. We got to look that up.
But when he
I know he came damn close.
But when Piazza hit him, boy, did they go far.
Yep. Hey, our next random point of interest, we talked about it last week, the head coach of Portland State.
Oh, yeah.
Who was going to buy beers for everybody.
How'd that work out?
Well, here's the tab. $14K.
Fine.
Exactly. And he just wrote a check like it was nobody's business. And I don't know if they're going to convince
And
him.
here's a little something for you and the girls. You guys did a great
Here's
job.
a sawbuck. Totally. $14,005.
Go buy yourself something nice.
Right? But we talked about that story, but that was his bill, $14,000. It was
Fine.
good. Yeah.
You know what?
And he didn't bark about
That's
it
a
one
great
bit.
story.
And they won the game.
That's a great story.
Good feel good. Couple of quick things. Shout out to one of our dear loyal listeners of the show, Don. His daughter Casey plays volleyball for the SUNY Cobleskill
Wow.
up in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Freshman, and you don't get it's actually saw some footage of her. She's a good player, up and coming.
Yeah.
I like those kind of sports in college, but down from here, we don't think about, the competition up there, but we wish her all the best of luck, and she's doing really awesome.
Very good.
Yeah. You got to say, Division III, I think. And, right, we think of the volleyball, it's usually UCLA, right, in the women's side. But these guys, those are good athletes, man.
Sure are.
They absolutely are.
Hell yeah.
And before we move off, random points. You and I like college hockey. You're a Boston University graduate.
I like college hockey.
I'm a Niagara graduate. And, Niagara's got some pretty tough games coming up, playing North Dakota, Penn State, Michigan, and Notre Dame.
Loss.
And some of them are double headers, but
Okay.
college hockey season and college basketball season is right on the horizon.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that up. And listen, Steve, we'll move on to our final segment. Notable passings. And, you and I couldn't be happier when we have a small list to talk about.
Yes.
And fortunately for us, we have a small list.
It's a light week.
So I'm actually gonna bring it up.
Which unfortunately, too, means
what?
at some point tonight and tomorrow is going to be a big name.
We won't be empty-handed next week, right?
And the only reason I say that is because it's been uncanny how it's been happening.
No.
Right?
Yeah, I know, but here's one we wanted to mention for our show because it's sports related. It's the widow of Tommy Lasorda,
Joe.
Yep, 91, and Tommy passed away 6-7 months ago, probably.
Yeah, not even.
And we loved Tommy Lasorda. He was baseball. He was a wise guy, but he was good manager. Yeah. Won a World Series.
I had
bloopers.
I had nothing as bad to say about Tommy Lasorda.
But his wife was always right by his side. They were married for 50 some odd years, maybe even 60. And
right.
We wanted to bring that up because we Dodger Blue.
And as a reminder, I think we brought it up on the show about Tommy Lasorda. Was
that one clip of his foul mouth.
So rant. For our sports fans out there, if you're looking for some entertainment, just Google or YouTube Tommy Lasorda rants, right? And the one with Doug Rao
is phenomenal
in the World Series.
Baseball blooper history
against the Yankees is so. Oh God, I can't get enough of listening to it.
It's great. And she was right by her side, and they asked her about, did you ever hear that? She goes, I never listened to it.
Yeah.
But Joe Lasorda, 91 years old.
Absolutely.
So fortunately for us, that's it for notable passings this week. But listen, there's so much going on, Steve, with sports and Ryder Cup. As soon as we log off here, we're going to be watching the Ryder Cup like everybody else. Enjoy it. Get outside. It's gorgeous weather. And thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. And
please send us an email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts and enjoy the sports weekend.
Bye.
Take care, folks.